detraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and film. 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
Thanks, Rhonda.
And then we have the daily reflection.
I'm Tyler and I'm alcoholic.
Tyler?
November 2nd, keeping optimism afloat. The other steps can keep most of us sober and somehow functioning. Step 11 can keep us growing. Waiting for the heart page 240. The sober alcoholic finds it much easier to be optimistic about life. Optimism is a natural result of my finding myself gradually able to make the best rather than the worst of each situation. As my physical sobriety continues, I come out of the fog in a clearer perspective and am better able to determine what course of action to take. As vital as physical sobriety is, I can achieve a greater potential for myself by developing never increasing willingness to avail myself of the guidance and direction of my higher power. My ability to do so comes from my learning and practicing the principles of the AA program. Melding of my physical and spiritual sobriety produces the substance of a more positive life.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.
We have a volunteer to read the promises.
That's me. I'm Jill, just visiting.
Hi, Jill.
Big book, page 83, and 4. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience will benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are those extravagant promises?
We think not.
They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill.
Is there anyone attending the first, second, or third meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous? Please introduce yourself so we can get to know you. Do we have any visitors or out-of-town members with us tonight? Please introduce yourself.
I'm Jim. I'm an alcoholic from Blackfoot.
Welcome, Jim.
Are there any members injured or in the hospital? Do we have a secretary's report?
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Mike.
Hello, my name is Group 1, first annual 12-step workshop. Starts tonight, 8 to 9:30. It's here.
Thanks, Mike.
District 1 needs help. H&I, District 1 hospitals and institutions need your help. We're in need of volunteers to carry the message to people in the judicial system and other institutions. These include for all Bingham County jails. Please sign up. Pass this around. And the Sober Lucius, July 5th, 6th, and 7th, 2013. The hotel of conference will be as is not been decided yet, but it will be in Boise. There's another one. Birthdays, Mike D, 9 months. That's all I got on the calendar.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
Treasurer's report. I'm Greg, alcoholic.
Greg?
Not much to announce. I bought cookies last meeting, and give the church $20 for a donation for our use of the room. And we got $7 in the kitty last meeting, so that's all I got.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Are there any other announcements? Okay. I would like to remind, oh, wait a minute, hold on here, celebrating sobriety. Are there any other birthdays besides Mike tonight? Okay, Mike, who's giving you your tip?
Kurt, please.
Oh, jeez, thanks.
My name's Kirk, I'm an alcoholic.
Kurt.
And, you know, I just want to say, man, you know, you're an inspiration in all this, with the workshop and stuff. You know, and I'm really proud of you, man. You know, you've been going through a lot of stuff and you're doing your fourth step, and I'm really proud of you because, you know, it's never easy looking at ourselves, and I'm glad you're doing it in a healthy way too, man. You know, I know it's a lot of work and you're doing it. You know what I mean? That's the most important part of this program, man, is, you know, doing it. You know, we talk about it until we're blue in the face. We can try to avoid it, you know, but you're just getting on it and doing it, man, you know, and I'm proud of you, and I'm glad you're part of my life, and I hope to be a bigger part of your life too still yet. So, love you lots, man. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm not
Mike?
Many of you know me from around here, and other meetings. It's been quite a struggle. Definitely the first little bit there. It's been up and down. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here if the people in this room and rooms like this didn't give me the help. I would have figured it up on myself a long time ago. But, you know, the courage that I get from everybody else gives me more. And, you know, I just, you know, I really do appreciate the help from everybody. It's been trying, but, you know, tomorrow's another day, and that's all I'm looking forward to is tomorrow and to get through today. But with that, I'll take it for another 24, and thank you.
All right, way to go, man. Yeah.
Okay, I would like to remind you of a seventh tradition. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. And tonight's meeting, as you all probably know, is our first, hopefully annual 12 Steps in 12 Weeks program workshop. We're supposed to have two speakers tonight to start us off. And when the speakers are done, we'll have questions, answers, or whatever you need, discussions. I want to thank all of you for showing up for this. It means a lot to me. And our speakers tonight will be Jim. He's going to start us off, and I guess Kurt's going to fill in.
Oh, no, Ashley's here.
Oh, Ashley is here.
Beautiful Ashley Miles. How can you miss
Thank you,
her?
Ashley.
You know what? Who can fill it?
And then Ashley will fill in for Kurt.
Ashley will fill in for me.
All right. I hope we get something out of this. Jim, the floor is yours.
Okay. My name is Jim G, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Jim.
I'm sober by the grace of God in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I've been sober since April 21st, 1981. My first sponsor told me never to forget my sobriety date, you know, or else I might have to get a new one, you know, and so I don't say that out of ego or anything. I just say it because that's how long I've been sober, and I think, you know, I was 30 years old when I got sober, and I thought I'd, you know, just been through the ringer, you know, and that last 2 years of before I got to AA, I kept trying to quit drinking. I knew I had to quit. And I just I kept ending up drunk. You know, I'd go through little dry periods, and then I'd get so miserable when I was dry, I'd start going, oh, maybe you're not an alcoholic. You know, my head would start talking to me, you know. And I searched out different people I went to some counselors trying to get somebody to, you know, give me the secret formula for control. You know, I thought, you know, I could see other people go in and have 1 or 2 beers and go home, and I just could never do that, you know. So I was like searching for this, you know, secret of control that I thought I was just missing, and maybe somebody could tell me, you know. And that first counselor I went to, I told, you know, I lied to him about my drinking, you know, and I told him I didn't drink that much, you know. I only drink, you know, maybe a 6-pack a day, maybe, or a couple times a week, you know, and, you know, not much, you know, but I, you know, when I start drinking, I can't stop, you know, and I did tell him that much, you know, and he told me right off the bat, he said, if you want to be sober and happy, go to AA. I didn't hear him say, and do what they say to do. I didn't hear that part of it. I just heard, go, if you want to be sober and happy, go to AA. And so I went to an AA meeting on this Sunday, and after that, and it was like a noon meeting on a Sunday in Sunnyvale, California, and there was probably a room this size, but it was full, you know, and it had chairs going like this across it, and the secretary's table up here, and there was a lot of people there, you know, and man, I walked in there and I was just like, I was red as a beet. I felt like I was red as a beet and just sweating, and you know, and I was hoping no one saw me, you know what I mean? And I got at the back of the room and I just didn't say anything. You know, if they asked for, you know, newcomers, and I couldn't raise my hand or anything. You know, I didn't hear nothing. I just wanted to get the hell out of there, and I was too embarrassed to get up in the middle of the meeting and walk out, or else I would have, you know. And I was just afraid, you know, and I didn't realize it was that at the time, you know. But I got out of there, and I was like, you know, there was people trying to say hello at the door on the way out, and I just like I was trying to get out of church or something, get by a preacher or something like that, you know, without getting pulled in, you know what I mean? And I got the hell out of there, and I'm telling myself, you know, I guess I'm going to just have to do this myself, you know what I mean? I'm going to have to, you know, grit my teeth and bear it, you know what I mean? And within a week I was drunk, you know, and going through this, in the third chapter in this book, More on Alcoholism, it talks about the different things we do to try and control our drinking, you know, and I did a bunch of things trying to control my drinking, you know. And anyway, I want to read this. Since we're on step 1 tonight, I want to read just the first page of step 1 in the 12 by 12, because it says some stuff that's pretty, you know, it's pretty raw, and it's important, you know, for sobriety, for any kind of useful or good sobriety, you know, I mean, quality sobriety. Step 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, and then our lives had become unmanageable. Who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. Every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. It is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking that only an act of providence can remove it from us. No other kind of bankruptcy is like this one. Alcohol now became the rapcious creditor. I think that's how you pronounce it. bleeds us of all self-sufficiently and all will to resist its demands. Once this stark fact is accepted, our bankruptcy as going human concerns is complete. But upon entering AA, we soon take quite another view of this absolute humiliation. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. Our admissions of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be the firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. We know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he has first accepted his devastating weakness and all its consequences. Until he so humbles himself, his sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Of real happiness he will find none at all. Proved beyond doubt by an immense experience, this is one of the facts of AA life. The principle that we shall find no enduring strength until we first admit complete defeat is the main taproot from which our society has sprung and flowered. That's pretty heavy to me. You know, that means that we have to hit a bottom first. You know, they were saying that from the beginning, you know. And in the big book, in the first 4 chapters of the big book, it gives all kinds of stories of them hitting bottoms, you know, and how far they had to go to hit one back in those days, you know. And so for me, when I got here, I was like, I actually thought my main problem was I was a drug addict. You know, I was like, for years I'd been a heroin addict. I'd been bouncing back and forth between heroin and alcoholism. And every time I got off heroin, I was drinking, and I thought my life was better when I was drinking, because every time I used heroin, I ended up in jail, you know, and I could stay sober and out of jail. I mean, I could stay drunk and out of jail at that time. I told you I got sober in 1981, and it was before the drunk driving laws before they changed the drunk driving laws and made them really a lot more severe, you know. And so before that time, I had been stopped a lot of times. I should have probably had 10 drunk drivings, and I have 0 drunk drivings, you know, because I always got scared enough to pass their sobriety test where I could, you know, walk straight, you know, put my feet in front of each other and touch my nose, you know. It didn't matter if I was reeking of alcohol, but I could, you know, I'd get scared sober enough to do their test, you know what I mean? And so I never caught one, you know. I should have caught a bunch of them. My twin brother, who used to drink and use with me, that first year of my sobriety, they changed the drunk driving laws. He caught 3 drunk drivings that year, you know, and he was in the same position as me. He didn't have any before that, you know. He caught 3 that first year, and I was like, I was trying to help him get sober, but he was having no part of it, you know what I mean? And I finally had to just turn him over. You know, the people in AA told me, you know, you can't give it away. You just got to do it for yourself, you know. And for me, it took me 3 meetings. I went to that first meeting. I said that first meeting, and I went out and ended up drunk, and you know, and ended up with my normal thing. I had been 2 years at that time off dope, and drinking quit working for me, you know. And I thought, at the end, you know, I didn't want none of that stuff, you know, but I had to drink, man. I had to have something in me, you know, and I didn't realize it was all the same thing, really, you know, but I had to have something to change who I was, because I couldn't stand Jim, you know. And I kind of heard Mike saying that there, you know. He couldn't do it without us, because, you know, he couldn't do it when he just took his chip, you know. And that's the way I felt, you know. my boss dragged me to my second AA meeting, you know, and he was being forced at the company. He was pretty bad. He would drink every day on the job, but he was good at his job, so the company wanted to keep him, you know. And so they forced him to go to AA. They forced him to go to like treatment and AA, you know, and he could see me, he saw me struggling, and so he dragged me to an AA meeting one night. He just said, "Why don't you come with me tonight?" You know, it was like Thursday night, and so I went. You know, at the time I was dry again. I was going through another one of my little periods of dryness, and I went to that second meeting, and it was even bigger than the first meeting. It was a men's meeting, and it probably had 100 guys in it, you know, on a Thursday night. And we got there a little early, and guys were standing around talking and chatting it up and laughing and joking, you know, standing around. And I was watching that, and I thought, this looks like a bar atmosphere. You know what I mean? I mean, they're standing around having fun, you know, laughing and joking and shit, you know what I mean? And you know, and then the meeting started, and these guys started, and they had, and this scared the crap out of me too, but this time it was a big enough thing where I didn't think I was going to get picked on, you know. And they had to go up to the front of this, up on stage on a podium and talk if they got called on, you know. And I'm like, you know. But I was sitting in the back and listening. This time I was listening. I was hearing something, you know. And I heard these guys get up there and start sharing, and they were telling how I felt inside. They were telling, and some of them were like doctors and lawyers, and some of them were convicts and dope addicts, just like me, you know, and they were sober, and they were happy, you know, that their lives had changed, you know. And so I saw just by listening to those guys that it worked, that you could be sober and happy, that counselor was telling me the truth, you know. You know, I didn't understand it at the time, you know, but, you know, after that meeting I really identified that I'm one of you guys and this program works, you know. But I still thought I was just a little bit different, you know. I was like, my self-esteem was so low that, and I didn't hear this until a lot later in sobriety, but I heard a woman talking one night, and she was getting her 30-year chip, and she was sharing her sobriety, and she talked about the self-loathing that she had before she got to Alcoholics Anonymous, and the only thing that took that away was a drink, and it really didn't help much at the end. It was like she'd have to get into oblivion, you know. And she talked about that self-loathing, and I identified so much because that's the way I was before I got to AA. I thought, you know, the things that I had done in my past, the things I had done for dope and alcohol, the lying, the, you know, dishonesty that I had done in order to cover my disease, I just felt, you know, like lower than a snake's belly, you know, and I didn't think I'd ever get over that, you know, and I thought the only thing that would take that away is a drink. And it was, but it quit working, man. I kept getting in more and more trouble, you know. And so I went to that meeting, and I went, yeah, okay, there is this, I see these guys having fun, you know, but I wasn't quite there yet. I wasn't quite convinced, you know, I didn't know, you know, and so I went through this other dry period, and I started drinking again, and I went to this counselor again. This was my third attempt at a counselor, and he said, you know, he goes, you got a good job, man. You got good insurance. You can go to treatment. No one will even know. They can't take your job away. They can't do anything like that. You know, you can go to treatment, go to a 30-day treatment thing. Your insurance will cover it. It won't cost you a cent. You know, and they can teach you about alcoholism, you know, and your disease. You got a disease. And this guy was the first guy I was honest with and told him I was a drug addict and an alcoholic and all the shit I was going through, you know, And when he was telling me I should go into this treatment place, I knew I needed to go there, you know, and he told me, he said, I'll get you in tomorrow, and I, not tomorrow, no way, you know. You know, it's October, it's like the middle of our busy season at work, you know, I'm a construction worker, you know, I'm working in this asphalt plant, I can't leave him now, man, I mean, you know, this winter when it gets slow, I'll go in. I said, and so he gave me his card, he said, okay, you know, here's my card, call me when you're ready, you know, and that was October. I got sober in April. I called him in April, my last drunk. You know, I'd been 2 weeks dry again, trying to do it on my own, and I kept saying, next Thursday I'm going to go to that meeting, you know, and I couldn't get there, you know what I mean, and I came home from work, and my wife and I don't know what, we might have had a little spat or something, I don't remember, but I told her I was walking the dog, I took the dog, walked around the corner of the liquor store and got me a beer, you know, and came back and threw the dog in the car and told her I was going fishing and went and bought a case, you know, and met some buddies and didn't come home till the bars closed, you know, and you know, and at first when I went out that night, I remember that night pretty clearly. At first when I went out that night, I got that same thing that they explain in the big book, that how, you know, it says that the doctor in the doctor's opinion explains it. He says that alcoholics, if you're an alcoholic, you have an obsession of the mind coupled with an allergy of the body. And if you don't have a drink in you, you become restless, irritable, and discontent. That's what he taught. That's the wording he uses in there. And that's, when I think about those words, that's exactly the words I was. I was restless, irritable, and discontent. I couldn't stand it, you know what I mean? And I saw that people could, and I knew that 1 drink or 2 drinks would take that away. It'd be gone, you know what I mean? But I just didn't know, you know. And I didn't get it at that second meeting either, that if you don't pick up the first drink, you can't get drunk, you know. When I turned myself into that treatment center, they started jamming that into me, you know. And when I went to that treatment center, I think that was a God thing for me, because that treatment place, we went to an AA or an NA meeting every day. We either went out or we had one come in, you know. And so I got introduced to AA. The first 30 meetings I went to was in that place, or 28. You know, and by the time I got out of there, I loved AA. I liked AA. You know, I listened. I was so beaten up by the bottle that I was ready to listen this time, you know. And I started listening, and I started hearing things, and I heard, you know, people talking about, you know, and they tried to make us all make a commitment to go to 90 meetings in 90 days when we walked out of that treatment center. You know, they had aftercare, and there was a lot of people that were like, okay, yeah, I'm getting out of here and I'm coming back to aftercare, and I thought that too, you know, but the place was like 30 miles away from where I lived, you know, and there's AA meetings all over. In Santa Clara County, where I lived at that time, there was like 750 meetings a week in that county. There's a lot of AA meetings, you know, and I could get to them, you know. So I made a commitment to go to 90 meetings in 90 days. And my wife didn't like it. She didn't, you know. She didn't understand the disease of alcoholism. Before I went in there, I was her drinking partner. And when I got too out of control, she wanted me to go with her and be her drinking partner without drinking, you know. And I was like, I used to do that shit, you know what I mean? And then when she got drunk enough, I'd try and get her to give me the okay for a drink, you know what I mean? And she used to, you know. Some of our things for trying to change our drinking was, you know, okay, natural wines, you know, if we just drink wine, we won't drink any hard drinks, you know. We'll just drink wine, you know. And then we started pouring like this liqueur in our wine, you know. I can't remember the name of that stuff. We'd put a shot of that in the wine and go, oh, this is just like wine, you know. Plastered, you know. And then we made a bet one time. We had a bet that, you know, like $100 bet, whoever drank first would have to pay the other one, you know. And we both had, you know, canned cocktails stashed in the closet in the house, you know, going in the closet and sneaking a drink, you know, and shit. And, you know, shit like that was going on, you know, and you know, it's kind of funny now, but at the time it was tragic, and it was like, it was hard, you know, to be sneaking around doing that stuff all the time, you know. And at work, you know, as soon as I knew that I had to quit drinking, and I knew that in myself that I had to stop this, the obsession got worse, man. That's all I could think about, you know, was drinking, you know. And then I get to AA and start reading the big book and listening in there, and they start telling me how this obsession of the mind we have, this obsession of the mind and the allergy of the body that we have trumps willpower. You know, I thought I was just plain weak. You know, I thought, you know, I'm just this weak human being. And every time I was in jail, when I was using dope all the time, I was scared shitless. You know, I was like, and if you know, did any kind of thing to me, I would beat the fuck out of you. I mean, I would. I was so scared I had to show them that I was tough. You know what I mean? Because I was afraid that they were going to take my fucking ass. My ass. You know what I mean? I really did. I thought, I'm this weak guy inside, and if they really knew who I was, I'd be screwed, you know? So I had to show this front how tough I was, you know? And I used to